Hello, esteemed gentlemen. The moment you place someone above you, you've already shrunk. Unknown. There's a dangerous kind of man walking quietly among us. He doesn't clap for kings. He doesn't kneel to charisma. And he sure as hell doesn't worship the self-proclaimed gods of society. While everyone else is lining up to bow to the loudest voices, Sigma males are watching from the shadows. Not out of fear, but because they know something most people don't. Here's the cold truth. According to recent psychological studies, over 80% of people follow social hierarchies without questioning them, even when those at the top are incompetent or fake. Now that's not just scary, that's sheepish. And sheep don't survive when the wolves are awake. But Sigma males, they're not interested in the flock. They're the glitch in the matrix. They see the illusion, and they reject the crown, even when it's offered. See, in today's world, where TikTok therapists and LinkedIn philosophers have crowned themselves as thought leaders, Sigma males are the ones muttering, "Pass. I've seen better advice written on bathroom stalls." And that's exactly why they're a threat. Because when a man doesn't worship the false idols society has built, he doesn't just break the rules, he rewrites the entire damn game. Stay locked in. Because by the time we're done here, you'll understand exactly why Sigma males don't bow. They break thrones. Number one, they don't mistake loudness for leadership. Most people today think the loudest person in the room is the leader, the one who talks the most, posts the most, shouts the most, or makes the biggest scene automatically gets attention. And attention, in this age, is often mistaken for authority. But Sigma males aren't fooled by volume. They know that being loud doesn't mean you have something valuable to say. In fact, the need to be loud is often a dead giveaway that someone's trying to distract you from the fact that they have nothing to offer beneath the surface. Look at how the world operates. Social media is full of self-proclaimed gurus yelling into cameras, flexing lifestyle shots, and talking endlessly about winning. But ask them to sit in silence or express a complex thought without buzzwords, and they fall apart. Sigma males watch these people closely, not out of admiration, but because they're taking notes on how not to be. They value quiet strength, not noise. For them, leadership isn't about having the most followers or the flashiest content. It's about depth, clarity, and doing the work when nobody's watching. What makes a Sigma male dangerous is that he doesn't need to compete for the spotlight. He knows that real power doesn't need to announce itself. It's felt. While everyone else is busy performing, seeking applause and approval, he's already 5 steps ahead, operating in silence, building something stronger than popularity. Independence. This silence unsettles people. It breaks the rhythm of the status quo. It removes the predictable alpha noise people are used to responding to. That's what makes Sigma males hard to understand and harder to control. The truth is, people are conditioned to respond to noise. It's like a social reflex. But Sigma males don't react. They observe. They study what's not being said. They listen to what people avoid. And they know that those who speak the loudest often fear silence the most, because silence exposes their emptiness. That's why Sigma males refuse to follow loud leaders. They don't need hype, they need substance. And if they don't find it, they move on, quietly, but with purpose. Because in a world of noise, their silence is more powerful than 1,000 empty words. Number two, they understand most followers are just addicts. Most people don't follow leaders because they believe in their values. They follow because they're chasing a feeling, the illusion of safety, the high of being part of something bigger, the dopamine hit of being accepted, noticed, or validated. It's not loyalty, it's addiction, and social gods know this. That's why they serve up constant content, drama, and carefully crafted inspiration. It's not leadership, it's a drug cycle. Sigma males see right through it. They're not chasing hope. They're not clinging to fantasies. They don't need someone to tell them how to think, act, or live. That's what separates them. While others are getting emotional hits from every motivational quote or alpha podcast, Sigma males are building mental armor, quietly, strategically, without the noise. What terrifies the system is this: Sigma males are immune to the usual methods of control. You can't manipulate someone who doesn't need your approval. You can't sell influence to someone who doesn't worship attention. Social gods thrive on being needed. Sigma males are dangerous because they need no one. Followers will excuse anything from their idols. Lies, failures, hypocrisy, just to keep the fantasy alive. It's like emotional heroin. They can't walk away because they've built their identity around someone else's persona. Sigma males don't fall into that trap. They build from within. They understand that if your strength depends on someone else's image, you're already weak. And here's the brutal truth. Most people would rather worship a fraud than face their own emptiness. Sigma males choose the opposite. They'd rather be alone in truth than surrounded by addicts in denial. That's not just different, that's revolutionary. So when people ask why Sigma males don't follow, don't fanboy, don't obsess over trends or titles, it's simple. They're not looking for the next fix. They're building fortresses of discipline, clarity, and self-mastery, and no cult of personality can compete with that. Number 3. They know that deifying humans leads to slavery. When you put someone on a pedestal, even if it starts with admiration, it always ends in submission. You begin to filter your thoughts through their opinions. You start questioning your instincts if they don't match theirs. And before you realize it, you've outsourced your identity to a personality you barely even know. That's not inspiration. That's quiet slavery. Most people don't notice when it happens because it feels good at first. It feels safe. But that comfort is a cage dressed up as guidance. Sigma males reject this completely. They've seen too many smart people turn into shadows of themselves because they started treating flawed humans like divine authorities. No matter how powerful, successful, or charismatic someone appears, Sigma males see them as just another person, flawed, breakable, and absolutely not worth kneeling to. That doesn't mean they're disrespectful. It means they refuse to hand over their mind, their values, or their direction to anyone else. They understand something most people don't. The moment you start worshiping, you stop thinking clearly. You ignore red flags, you make excuses, you reshape your truth to fit someone else's brand. That's how cults form. That's how movements lose their soul. Sigma males stay out of that trap because they don't elevate people to divine status in the first place. If someone is wise, they'll listen. If someone is skilled, they'll observe. But worship? Never. Sigma males walk beside those they respect. And when that's not possible, they walk alone, because they'd rather be grounded in solitude than hypnotized in a crowd. Deifying people makes you shrink. It's a silent contract that says, "You're higher than me, you know better, lead me." But Sigma males rip that contract up before it's even offered. They don't need a savior. They're not looking for a messiah in a podcast or a prophet on stage. They are their own compass. That's what makes them hard to manipulate, impossible to convert, and dangerous to the social gods who rely on blind followers to maintain their thrones. Sigma males don't kneel, and they sure as hell don't look up. Number 4. They know charisma can be faked, and usually is. Charisma used to mean presence, energy, and something real you could feel in a room. Now, it's just performance. It's lighting, angles, voice inflection, a well-rehearsed smirk, and quotes stolen from someone more original. In a world where everything is content, charisma has become an act, a carefully engineered product designed to manipulate emotions, not connect with them. And most people fall for it every single time. Sigma males don't. They've learned that charisma can be studied, scripted, and even sold. They know that a lot of what passes for magnetic personality today is just strategic editing and algorithm-tested delivery. It's smoke, it's mirrors, it's a well-lit lie dressed in confidence. And once you've seen it from behind the scenes, once you've seen how the sausage is made, it loses its magic. Sigma males don't care how smooth someone sounds or how well they command a crowd. They're not impressed by theatrics. What they care about is depth, truth, substance. They pay attention to what happens off stage, how someone treats the people they can't benefit from, how they behave when the camera's off, what they do when no one's clapping. That's where the truth lives. And more often than not, those charismatic gods don't have much to offer once the script runs out. The danger is that people mistake performance for leadership. They think confidence equals credibility, but Sigma males know better. They've seen enough actors pretending to be thinkers, enough influencers pretending to be visionaries, enough charm covering up deep insecurity. Charisma is easy to fake. Authenticity isn't. And in a culture obsessed with image, Sigma males look for what can't be photoshopped: consistency, emotional discipline, and a mind that doesn't crumble under pressure. That's why they're immune to the typical traps. They won't follow someone just because they're charming. They won't hand over respect just because someone knows how to talk. Sigma males trust what they've verified, not what's been polished. Because once you realize most charisma is just a costume, you stop being a fan and start being free. Number 5. They know social approval is a currency that inflates like a meme coin. Social approval today is like a meme coin. It looks valuable for a second, makes a lot of noise, and then crashes the moment the hype dies. One minute you're everyone's favorite, the next you're forgotten or cancelled because the algorithm moved on or your aesthetic stopped trending. It's not real value, it's emotional speculation, and Sigma males want no part of it. They've watched people build entire identities on likes, follows, and applause, only to lose themselves trying to maintain the illusion. They've seen influencers bend their morals just to keep the dopamine drip flowing. It's desperate, it's fragile. And to Sigma males, it's pathetic, because once your sense of worth is tied to public approval, you're not free, you're rented by your audience. Sigma males don't chase that kind of validation because they know it's counterfeit. It feels good for a second, but it doesn't last. And it doesn't build anything that matters. They've chosen a longer game, one that isn't ruled by trends or applause. They're not interested in being liked for who they pretend to be. They'd rather be hated for who they truly are. That's real power. Approval from the crowd is cheap. It's shallow and conditional. You only have it as long as you entertain, conform, or flatter them. Sigma males don't dance for claps. They move in silence, build in private, and let their results speak louder than any post or performance ever could. And here's the irony. The less they care about social approval, the more magnetic they become. Not because they're trying, but because authenticity in a fake world is rare. People can feel it. It hits different. It unsettles those who are performing. That's why Sigma males don't need hype. They are the signal in the noise. While others are investing in attention, clout, and fake relevance, Sigma males are investing in truth, skill, and inner stability. They don't need the crowd's approval because they've already approved themselves. And that's something no trend can inflate or crash. Number 6. They've watched the kings become court jesters. Sigma males have a front-row seat to one of the saddest transformations in modern culture, watching once respected alphas turn into desperate entertainers. These so-called kings, once admired for their power, their dominance, their edge, slowly lose their identity trying to stay relevant. They soften their message, chase trends, and bend to whatever the crowd wants just to keep the applause going. It's not evolution, it's surrender. What starts as leadership quickly turns into performance. The once feared voices become predictable caricatures, repeating the same safe scripts, hoping for clicks, approval, and brand deals. Sigma males watch this shift with quiet disgust because to them, when a king starts dancing for attention, he stops being a king. He becomes a court jester, amusing, loud, and ultimately powerless. This is why Sigma males never chase the throne. They don't want the spotlight if it means selling their authenticity to keep it. They don't want to rule if ruling means entertaining. The moment a man becomes addicted to his audience, he becomes owned by it. Sigma males see that trap from miles away and walk the other direction. They'd rather rule from exile than lead a fake empire. Alone, honest, and undiluted, that's worth more to them than fake admiration. Because real power isn't about being celebrated. It's about being unshakably yourself when no one's clapping. And most alphas today can't handle silence. They need the roar of approval to feel alive. Sigma males don't. What makes this even more brutal is that once the kings start clowning, the crowd doesn't respect them. They just tolerate them. They become background noise. Former legends turned into memes. Sigma males aren't interested in going out like that. They'd rather disappear than dilute. That's the difference. The Sigma isn't trying to be remembered. He's trying to be real. And in a world full of fading kings and collapsing personas, that kind of raw presence isn't just rare. It's revolutionary. Number 7. They know being worshipped comes with a price tag. Authenticity. Being worshipped looks powerful from the outside, but Sigma males know the price that comes with it. You lose your authenticity. The higher you climb in public opinion, the less freedom you have to speak your mind. Suddenly, every word is calculated, every opinion filtered, every truth diluted. You're not free, you're branded. You become a symbol, not a person. And symbols are expected to behave a certain way, or else the crowd turns on them. Sigma males refuse to play that game. They don't want to be worshipped because they know what it costs. Silence. The moment people start idolizing you, they also start expecting you to reflect their values, feed their egos, and never challenge their beliefs. One wrong word, one uncomfortable truth, and the same people who bowed at your feet will burn you at the stake. That's why Sigma males would rather be outlaws than icons. They'd rather be misunderstood and raw than accepted and fake. They don't crave approval, they crave honesty, and they're willing to stand alone in truth rather than be surrounded by applause they didn't earn being themselves. They watch the social gods carefully, men and women who used to speak with fire, who now tiptoe around every sentence like they're walking through a PR minefield. It's not strength, it's survival. These gods have built castles out of applause, and now they're prisoners in them. Sigma males aren't impressed by that kind of success. They see it for what it is, a golden cage. They understand that worship demands censorship. You don't just get praise, you inherit responsibility to perform. You become a servant to your image. Sigma males kill their egos before they ever let that happen. Because when you're worshipped, people stop listening to you for your ideas. They follow you for comfort. And Sigma males weren't built to be comforting. They were built to be real. So they stay sharp, unfiltered, and dangerous. Not because it's trendy, but because it's who they are. And if that truth doesn't get them applause, good, that means they're still free. Number 8. They understand most people follow the loudest voice, not the wisest one. Most people don't follow wisdom, they follow volume. The louder someone speaks, the more confident they sound. The more people assume they must know what they're talking about. It's not about logic or insight anymore, it's about who can dominate the feed, flood the timeline, or hijack the room, and that's exactly why the wrong people keep ending up with the microphone. Sigma males don't fall for that noise. They've trained themselves to look past tone and theatrics. They know that a loud voice doesn't equal a sharp mind. In fact, the louder someone gets, the more suspicious they become. Because real wisdom doesn't scream for attention. It invites reflection. It doesn't demand the spotlight. It earns respect quietly, consistently, and without needing applause. Most of the so-called social gods are masters of presentation, not depth. They speak in catchy sound bites, recycled quotes, and manufactured emotion. It's all optimized for virality, not truth. And the crowd eats it up, not because it's meaningful, but because it's easy to digest and hard to ignore. Sigma males see that for what it is, a performance dressed up as leadership. They don't need a booming voice or a crowd to tell them who to follow. They listen for what most people miss: the nuance, the silence between words, the consistency between message and behavior. If the depth isn't there, it doesn't matter how loud someone yells, it's just noise. And Sigma males don't chase noise. They're not interested in who dominates the conversation. They're focused on who actually knows what they're talking about, even if that person never raises their voice. Because in a culture obsessed with volume, true insight whispers, and Sigma males are tuned to that frequency. That's what makes them dangerous to the loudest voices. They're immune to hype. They aren't dazzled by charisma or shaken by dominance. They seek depth, substance, and clarity. And when they find it, they respect it, not because it's popular, but because it's real. So while the masses follow whoever's shouting the loudest, Sigma males keep listening for the quiet voices that actually make sense. And that's why they never get lost in the noise. Number 9. They don't need a tribe because they are a movement. Most people are desperate to belong to something, a tribe, a label, a movement that gives them identity without doing the inner work. They want a flag to wave, a leader to worship, and a crowd to disappear into. But Sigma males are the opposite. They don't join the movement. They are the movement. They don't chant someone else's slogans. They don't mimic someone else's mindset. Because following blindly, even in a powerful direction, is still submission. Sigma males are a disruption to the herd instinct. They don't need community to feel valid or groupthink to feel correct. While others gain strength in numbers, Sigma males gain strength in solitude, not because they hate people, but because they refuse to trade authenticity for acceptance. That's what makes them unpredictable and dangerous. You can't guilt them, trend shame them, or exile them because they're not part of your club to begin with. When you worship someone else, you copy their essence. You dilute yours. It's spiritual plagiarism. Sigma males know this. That's why they're not interested in quoting someone else's truth. They're busy writing their own. Every decision, every belief, every boundary is built from the ground up, not borrowed, not inherited, not copied. That kind of independence terrifies the system, because movements are easier to control when they're centralized, loud, and led by someone who can be bought or silenced. But Sigma males don't centralize, they don't organize, they don't gather in predictable ways. They move like a pulse, quiet, untraceable, and steady. That's not just power, that's undeniable power. People ask, "What tribe are you part of?" Sigma males say, "None, but a few like me might be walking parallel in the dark, and that's enough." They don't need a banner to wave or a leader to worship, because the second you kneel to another man's mission, you abandon your own. So they walk alone, not because they're lost, but because they refuse to be found in someone else's shadow. The tribe follows trends. Sigma males set them without even trying. Number 10. They know reverence often hides dependency. Reverence sounds noble. It sounds like deep respect, admiration, even loyalty. But Sigma males know the dark truth most people ignore. Reverence often masks dependency. It's not just about honoring someone. It's about secretly needing them, needing their approval, their insight, their presence to feel grounded. And the second you need someone to that extent, you've handed them power over you. That's a line Sigma males will never cross, because for them, giving someone that kind of power is the same as saying, "You are my source. Without you, I'm incomplete." They reject that with every cell in their body, not out of arrogance, but out of survival. If your strength is rooted in someone outside of you, you've already built it on unstable ground. And Sigma males refuse to build anything that fragile. They've watched too many people lose their sense of self by wrapping it around someone else's voice. They've seen men turn into parrots, quoting their idols word for word, wearing the same masks, thinking they're evolving when they're just imitating. That's not growth, it's dependence. Sigma males see the trap, and they step over it. To them, worship is subtle slavery. It trains your mind to seek external validation instead of internal clarity. It makes you ask, "What would he do?" instead of asking, "What do I know?" And that's the difference between being led and being lost with style. Sigma males don't idolize, they observe. They might respect someone's journey, admire a decision, or learn from someone's experience. But they'll never turn that respect into worship, because that shift, however subtle, poisons independence. And independence is non-negotiable. They are their own source, their own compass, their own engine. That's not a mindset. They've made it a lifestyle. Every thought, every move, every belief is owned, not outsourced. So when someone tries to position themselves as a savior, a guru, or a god, Sigma males don't kneel, they don't argue, they just walk away. Because they know the cost of worship is freedom and they refuse to pay. Number 11. They know that power without principles is just theater. Power without principles is nothing more than theater. And Sigma males aren't interested in being part of the cast. Social gods, on the other hand, treat values like interchangeable costumes, swapping them out whenever it suits their audience or boosts their popularity. One day it's virtue signaling, the next it's blatant hypocrisy dressed up as growth. For Sigma males, that's a fatal weakness, not flexibility. They know real power doesn't bend or break under pressure. It stays solid, consistent, and unshakable. When your principles are a moving target, you're not leading anything but a charade. And the crowd? They'll cheer for the illusion until the next act comes along, then forget you ever existed. Sigma males watch this cycle and choose something different. They'd rather stand alone, rock solid in their beliefs, than knee to the ever-changing whims of public opinion. Authenticity is their currency, not popularity. It's a brutal path, no doubt. Being principled means you lose fans, friends, and followers. But it also means you keep your soul. And for Sigma males, that's non-negotiable. This is why they refuse to perform. They won't spin narratives to fit trends or water down their truths to be more palatable. Social gods chase the spotlight by playing to the crowd. Sigma males build their own spotlight, quietly from integrity. Their power is real because it's anchored in who they are, not who they pretend to be. When the crowd demands conformity, Sigma males demand alignment. Because without principles, power is just empty applause echoing in a hollow theater. And they refuse to be actors in a play written by someone else. Number 12. They've seen what the worshipped become behind closed doors. They've seen it all. The dazzling public personas, the relentless charisma, the crowds hanging on every word. But Sigma males have also been privy to what goes on behind the scenes, away from the spotlight and applause. And what they've found isn't inspiring. It's often shocking. The very people worshipped as gods, those towering figures of confidence and influence, can be empty shells when no one's watching. Behind closed doors, many reveal cracks that the public never sees. Insecurity thinly masked by arrogance, selfishness disguised as charm, hypocrisy dressed in carefully crafted smiles. The legend crumbles piece by piece. The social gods who command loyalty and devotion turn out to be just as flawed, fragile, and human as anyone else, sometimes even more so. For Sigma males, these moments aren't gossip. They're revelations. They strip away illusions and demand a new standard of judgment. This first-hand knowledge breeds contempt, not admiration. When you witness how easily power can corrupt, and how often charisma masks emptiness, you stop buying the worship. Sigma males understand that real strength is invisible most of the time. It doesn't need an audience or a stage to exist. The loudest, most adored figures aren't always the strongest. Sometimes they're just the best at hiding their weaknesses. That's why Sigma males stay detached. They don't idolize anyone because they know what lies beneath the surface. They're not blinded by image or hype because they've seen the backstage drama that never makes headlines. And once you see behind the curtain, there's no going back to being a fan. Sigma males keep their respect reserved for those rare few whose integrity holds steady in private and public. Because worship without that foundation is just wishful thinking. And they don't waste time on fairy tales. At the heart of it all, the refusal of Sigma males to worship social gods isn't just rebellion. It's a profound declaration of independence. It's a refusal to trade their authenticity, freedom, and inner power for fleeting approval, empty rituals, or hollow idols. In a world obsessed with followers, likes, and viral moments, Sigma males choose the path less traveled, walking alone, thinking deeply, and building quietly. They understand that true strength doesn't come from being adored or placing others on pedestals. It comes from owning your truth and standing firm, no matter how loud the noise around you gets. This isn't about arrogance or isolation. It's about a relentless commitment to self-sovereignty. Sigma males recognize the dangers hidden beneath the surface of social worship. The subtle loss of freedom, the silent chains of dependency, the erosion of principles, and the inevitable disappointment when illusions crumble. They see through the performance and reject the stage, refusing to be pawns in a game designed to manipulate and control. By rejecting worship, Sigma males redefine power entirely. They prove that leadership isn't about commanding crowds or collecting followers. It's about mastery over self and the courage to be unapologetically real. They don't seek validation. They generate it from within. They don't follow movements. They are the movement. And in that quiet, unwavering presence lies a threat to the status quo, because true power never asks permission or demands applause. In the end, the Sigma male's stance is a challenge to everyone caught in the cycle of worship and dependency. How much of yourself are you willing to sacrifice to serve someone else's image? How much of your soul will you trade for approval that's as volatile as a meme coin? Sigma males invite us all to step off the pedestal, break the chains of blind allegiance and reclaim our power. Because real freedom, real strength, and real leadership begin the moment we stop worshiping gods and start worshiping ourselves. And that is a revolution quietly shaking the foundations of a world addicted to idols. If you found this dive into the mindset of Sigma males powerful and eye-opening, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss the kind of truth that cuts through the noise. Like this video if you're ready to challenge the status quo. Comment below with your thoughts or experiences because your voice matters. And share this with someone who needs a fresh perspective on power, independence, and authenticity. Together, we're building a community that values real strength over empty worship. Stay sharp, stay true, and I'll see you in the next one.